Hi, we're Ariel,
and Michelle,
and
and
we're
we're
the
the
Board
Board
Game
Game
Tutors.
Tutors.
Today, we're going to be doing our Advanced Concepts video for the board game Castle Panic, and specifically today, we're going to be going over all of the remaining cards in the Castle deck that we haven't yet discussed. So let's go ahead and get started.
All right.
So, as you can see here, these are the cards that we've already discussed from the Castle deck. Not all of them, obviously, but just for your information, this green swordsman, all of the basic hit cards that say hit one monster, etc., um, specifying the place where you can hit them. There are 3 green swordsmen total in the entire deck. So there are 3 copies of this card in the deck. Just like that, there's also 3 copies of red archers, 3 copies of blue knights, etc. So there are 3 copies of all of this type of card in the deck.
So then we also have the brick card and the mortar card, which we've already talked about. There are 4 copies of the brick card and 4 copies of the mortar card in the deck.
So, obviously, you can only build so many walls before you exhaust the deck the first time. You can only build 4, obviously, because you have to use 1 of each.
And then once the deck is all used up, you'll be reshuffling and starting over. So then all the same cards are going to come up again.
So yeah, once you use up the deck and it's all in the discard, shuffle it, put it back here again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go ahead to the cards now that we haven't yet discussed.
So these are all special cards, and there's exactly 1 copy of each of these cards in the deck.
So that's what distinguishes them from all the other cards, because they have all the bricks, mortars, and regular soldiers. They all have multiples, but all of these cards in this deck have 1.
All right, so here we have the blue hero.
Mm-hmm.
His card says hit 1 monster in the archer, knight, or swordsman ring of the blue arc. So what's special about him is he can function as an archer or a knight or a swordsman, but still being confined to only the blue area.
He looks very pompous, so
yeah.
he says, "Oh, I can go anywhere." But as you can tell, since it doesn't specify it in the text on this card, he cannot go in the castle. Not very heroic, I would say. But pretty much, so as you can see over here, if we used up this blue hero from our hand, as you go over here, there's only 1 monster in the blue area, but it's in the knight range, which is eligible for the blue hero to hit him, so he can go down from a 3 down to a 2, and we discard this blue hero into the discard.
All right. Then we have the green hero, same idea. Hit 1 monster in the archer, knight, or swordsman ring of the green arc. So just like with the blue hero, he works the same way, but he's in the green area.
So as you can tell here, we have 3 possible targets there, there, and way up there. I can't reach. Okay. So there's 3 possible targets. The person who has this green hero would choose which target they wanted to hit. These 2 targets down here are both 1 hit point each. That one way up there is worth 2. So obviously, you have a choice. Let's just say he got rid of. He brought that orc down to 1. So let's just pretend that happened.
Okay.
And then we would discard this green hero.
All right.
Right. And lastly, same thing. Red hero. Hit 1 monster in the archer, knight, or swordsman ring of the red arc. Let's see here. We got some pretty tough guys here. 3. This guy's at 2. This guy's at 2 because it's the Goblin King. Let's just bring this guy down to 2. Right?
All right, so those are all the heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have any color archer. Hit 1 monster in any color archer ring. So this guy's kind of similar to the hero in that you have some options about where he can go, but he can go in any archer ring. So he could work in the green archer ring or the blue archer ring or the red archer ring.
Mm-hmm.
So you can figure out when you have him where he's needed most.
So yeah, let's just use him on the Goblin King, for example. He would go down to 1 hit point, and that card would be used up. So you only have 1 copy of that.
Then we have any color knight, similar idea, hit 1 monster in any color knight ring. So he can go to the green knight ring, the red knight ring, or the blue knight ring.
Right, and so let's just use him on the blue. This guy would go down to 1, and that card would get used up.
Okay, and then finally, from that section, any color swordsman. Hit 1 monster in any color swordsman ring.
Okay, so there's only 2 monsters, 1 there, 1 there. Let's just get rid of, not get rid of, but let's reduce this guy down to 1. So that would be using that 1 copy of any color swordsman.
Okay, then we have the Barbarian, probably our favorite card in this game.
Pretty sure everybody's favorite card.
Yeah, and you can see there's a castle symbol below his name. That means he can even work in the castle.
So he's one of the 2 or 3 cards in the whole deck that actually operate inside of the castle walls. So, like we said, heroes, any color swordsman, knight, or archer, and all the regular knights, swordsmen, and archers, they have their specific range. They cannot go beyond that range. This barbarian can go inside of the castle. So nobody else can attack inside of the castle except the barbarian. And he looks pretty crazy with his huge axe.
So his text says, slay one monster anywhere, including the castle ring, but not the forest. So he can do all of the damage that's necessary to destroy a single monster, even if it has 3 hit points or whatever it has. He can just automatically slay that monster.
For example, with the Goblin King, the Troll Mage, the Healer, and the Orc Warlord, no matter how many hit points they have left, whether they're at full health, whether they only have 1 hit point left, probably not the best use to kill them with 1 hit point left. But, for example, if any monster has a lot of hit points, or is inside of the castle, and you really want to eliminate them before they take out your towers, you would use the Barbarian to take them out. And also, the ones with 3 are pretty hard to kill. You'd have to use 3 separate cards to do so.
Right.
And also, as you can tell, on the top here of his card, he has these little purple dots on the corners of his name. That means he's a special card. So, obviously, the heroes are special cards. The swordsman, any color cards are special cards. But, as you can tell here, they have red, blue, and green, so it tells you where they apply. The barbarian applies everywhere except the forest. He cannot attack in the forest ring. Right. So everywhere else on the board is fair game. He can attack anybody in any of those areas.
All right, so that was the Barbarian.
So yeah, you're going to be using this. Obviously, you only have 1 copy in your deck, so you're going to try and save it, but also, if you need to use it, you need to use it, obviously.
Then we have drive him back, and you can see there the castle symbol again, so this one also works in the castle.
Purple dots.
Move 1 monster back into the forest, keeping it in the same numbered arc. So, for example, if we used this for that troll, which of course he only has 1 hit point, but say we decided to use it on that troll to make sure he wouldn't start destroying the castle. There he just goes straight back to the forest. So he's still in the number 1 arc, but he's all the way back in the forest now.
And he still has the same hit points that he started out with.
Right.
So, and as the castle implies, this can work inside of the castle, forcing the person, let's say if they were in Arc 6 and they had destroyed this tower in particular, they would be forced all the way to the back of Arc 6, etc. So, wherever the arc that they currently are, that is where they go back to.
Right. So you still have to get rid of that monster, but it gives you some breathing room. They'll start moving forward through normal movement, and then you'll have more time to get rid of them before they get back to the castle.
And you can see here these guys are carrying a shield and forcing the guy all the way out of the castle. Don't know why they didn't just kill him, but anyway.
Yeah.
So that is using drive him back. And also, we didn't use the barbarian card on the last example, but basically he kills whoever you attack him with.
Whoever you attack with him. Okay, so then we have Tar, which also works in the castle. Place Tar token on 1 monster. That monster does not move this turn. So we have this little Tar token.
It's pretty much a black circle with a little swirliness on it. You use it during your, obviously, step 4 of order of play, called play cards phase. And for the remainder of your turn, during steps 5 and step 6, this monster will not move. So if you get if you back up a little bit, this is obviously the red area of the board, and like we said, so you would play this Tar token card during the play cards phase. During step 5 and step 6, that monster cannot move, no matter what happens.
Right.
So, for example, if you get the Orc Warlord, the Orc Warlord causes people in the same color as him to move forward. This Tar token makes that invalid, basically. Also, if you got a token that said red monsters move, this also would not provoke him to move because he has been stuck in place using the black tar. Right. And once that player's turn is over, once steps 5 and step 6 are done, this is removed, and that person is able to move once again.
They get out of the tar surprisingly quickly.
Yeah. So obviously, uh, you can damage a monster that has been tarred, but yeah, you could do it before or after tarring them. That's your choice.
Right.
And obviously, one major reason to use tar, especially given that castle symbol, is to prevent their movement inside of the castle.
Right.
Because obviously, you don't want them to destroy towers, because, like we said, there is nothing restricting their movement. When they're right here outside of the wall, when they break the wall, they're stuck outside for one more turn. But once they're inside, they just keep progressing in a clockwise fashion.
Yeah, until they hit enough buildings that they have died.
Mm-hmm. That was top.
All right, then we have Nice Shot. Play this card with any hit card to slay the hit monster. So you have to play this at the same time as a hit card. The hit cards are all those basic cards. So blue archer, or here we have a red knight. Those are examples of hit cards. The ones that say hit one monster in the whatever ring it refers to.
Mm-hmm. So if this troll was here in the night ring, and you played Nice Shot with the red knight, even if he had a full 3 hit points, even if they were a boss, they would be immediately slain, and they would be dead.
All right.
So that was red knight, but let me move this out of the way for you.
So it's kind of like Nice Shot makes someone into a barbarian in the sense that they just get rid of whoever they attacked instead of only doing 1 damage.
True.
Then we have Draw 2 cards. Play this card to add 2 cards to your hand, even if it exceeds the normal hand size. So this would happen during the play cards part of a turn, step 4. And so you would play this, and then you would get to draw 2 more cards. So that means once you draw those 2 cards, you would still be in the play cards phase. You would get to see whether those were cards that you wanted to use still during this turn.
So basically, this in a 2-player game of Castle Panic, this will increase your hand size up to 8. Because you normally start out with 6 in a 2-player game, now you add 2 cards to your hand. And
Right.
so now you have that many more options to choose from when you're playing your cards. So obviously, you could do this at any point during your step 4 play cards phase. You could do this at the beginning, you could do this at the end, it doesn't really matter. Okay.
Then we have Fortify Wall. Place Fortify token on 1 wall. When hit, token damages monsters and stops boulders. So here's the Fortify token. There are 2 of them that come with the game.
Here's one. They look like tiny pencils.
Yeah.
And basically, when you play Fortify Wall card, there's only 1 copy of this in the whole deck. You would take that card, discard it, grab this token, put it on the wall that you would like to use to defend that wall. And go ahead and explain more about that, Michelle.
Okay, so once a monster hits the wall, normally, like this troll right here, he would hit the wall, and then the wall would be gone, and he would go down 1 hit point. But the fortification is there to protect the wall, so it would get removed rather than the wall, and then, like normal, the troll would lose 1 hit point. So now there's a whole other turn where the next time he moves, he's gonna hit the wall. The wall will be gone, and he'll go down 1. Then he's still in the swordsman ring, so it keeps him in the swordsman ring longer.
Yeah.
And obviously, he might also die by this point, depending on how many hit points he started with.
Right. So yeah, that is a Fortify token. It basically gives the wall 1 extra life. So it makes it that much harder for monsters to crash into walls. And I know what you might be thinking. Let's say the Fortify token was here, and there were 2 monsters approaching the wall. If they both approach at the same time, and then they move forward out of the swordsman ring to hit the wall, only one of those monsters, just like a regular wall, would destroy that fortification, and you would pick which one do you want to lose a health.
Right.
Okay. And they would both be held out for another turn. Then they would crash into the wall. Then another person would lose a health point. Then the wall would be gone at that point. So basically, it is strengthening your walls with 1 extra hit point.
All right. Then we have Missing. Do not draw any monster tokens this turn. So on the turn when you play this card, it basically allows you to skip step number 6, draw 2 new monsters. You don't have to draw any tokens from the monster pile.
So obviously, a really useful card to use when you're really getting hammered. You have monsters all over the board. You really need a slight reprieve. So you might play Missing at that point to just give yourself a breather so you can finish off some of the monsters who are on the board that are playing a serious role in defeating your castle.
All right, then we have Scavenge. Search the discard pile for one card of your choice and add it to your hand. So this is going to allow you to reuse any card that's already in the discard pile. And probably the most common thing to use Scavenge for is the Barbarian, because he's so helpful. He can kill any single monster. So it's definitely been our experience that you want to wait until the Barbarian is in the discard pile and then play Scavenge so that you can get him back. And there might be times when there's another specific card that you need, but for us, it's almost always the Barbarian that we're wanting to get with Scavenge.
Mm-hmm. And also, some other combinations that you might use with Scavenge are you might grab a hero, and if you already have Nice Shot in your hand, you might use the hero to do 2 damage. Not 2 damage, to immediately kill a monster. So that's one combination. If you, let's say you haven't drawn the Barbarian yet, if you have a hero and you have Nice Shot, or if you have any of these any color fighters, you could also use that with Nice Shot and immediately eliminate a monster. So that's one way, a cheap, not cheap, but another way of getting a barbarian essentially to defeat one whole monster.
Mm-hmm.
Another way you might use it is you might use Drive Him Back once during your play cards phase, step 4, then use Scavenge to get the Drive Him Back card back from the discard pile back into your hand, and then use that on a second monster on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Tar, this does not work with Scavenge because, as you can see, we only have 1 tar token, so you can't tar 2 monsters on the same turn. So that is not eligible for Scavenge. You could keep it in your hand, and the next turn someone could use it, but there's not really that much point to that. Nice Shot, another good option for scavenging from the deck, because, like we said, it slays a monster.
Right.
Also, one really interesting way that you can use Scavenge and draw 2 cards in a game of Castle Panic would be to play draw 2 cards during step 4 of your play cards phase, then play Scavenge to retrieve this draw 2 cards out of the discard pile over here, then play draw 2 cards again. So you wouldn't have a hand of 8 cards, you would have a hand of 10 cards to use during that whole play cards phase.
Right.
Then here, Fortify Wall. This is an eligible card for you to use with Scavenge because, as you can see, we have 2 Fortify tokens. So you could use Fortify Wall during one point of your phase and place it on a wall that you choose. And you could use Scavenge to retrieve that Fortify Wall card and put it on a second wall. Because, like we said, you have 2 tokens, so you might as well do that if you have the opportunity and if you're getting assaulted and you really need some extra defense. I believe missing, that wouldn't really help you to play missing twice on a turn, because, there's doubly no monsters showing up on this turn.
But you might want to use Scavenge if missing's already in the discard from a previous turn.
Right.
Then that would make sense if that's what you most wanted to do with Scavenge.
In our experience, you will. It's a pretty interesting image for the Scavenge card, as you can see. But in our experience, most of the time, we'll just get the Barbarian out of the discard pile. But if you can't get the Barbarian out of the discard pile, it also is pretty wise to use it on any color archer, or even just a basic archer, and use that in combination with Nice Shot.
Yeah, basically, if you have the right card for the area that you need to target, like say you need to attack someone in the red archer range, then you could use Nice Shot with that in order to kill that monster. So it really depends on the circumstances as to what you're going to want to do with Scavenge.
And obviously, like we said, the Barbarian just straight out kills a monster. Nice Shot also kills a monster. The only limitation is you have to have the card that works with that area. So
Right.
Obviously, a red hero is pretty versatile. All the heroes are pretty versatile. All the any color cards, those are pretty useful too.
All right, so that was our advanced concepts video for the board game Castle Panic, going over all the special cards that we hadn't gone over yet. So yeah, thanks so much for watching this video, and we really appreciate any comments or questions or clarifications that you guys have. Also, if you enjoyed this content, please subscribe to our channel to get regular updates from us talking about this and other games.
And also, if you want to see all the content that we have for all the different board games that we do, please go to boardgamegeek.com and look up the Board Game Tutors, one word. Um, and yeah, check out all of our content and see all the different games that we've posted videos for.
All right, thanks so much for watching. Bye.
Bye, everybody.